Hey, kia ora, Helen Brown's taking me live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. One moment, please. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast, episode 1387. We're creeping closer to 1461, which will be 4 years. Why should I keep learning? That is a really good question. You'll have to excuse my appearance. It started raining here. Oh, I've got water running down the back of my hair. Oh, well. And I suddenly realized that the windows in the car were still open, so I just had to duck outside. I didn't have the awning out because of the wind, so I just had to duck outside, open up the car door, the passenger door, jump into there, close the door, turn the key on so I could close the back windows. Fortunately, the back windows have the double screens on them, so the water doesn't come in as much. But this, I was looking at the weather thingy. It says absolutely nothing to do with our topic today. I was looking at our weather thingy. This is our rain forecast, and that's for the next hour. And the little red tips up the top there is heavy downpours. If you want to see what it looks like, I don't know if this will actually turn that way, will it? No, it won't. Yeah, that's going to go on from until after 7:30 tonight. Yeah, so I had to go dunk out, but got a little wet, but that's okay. I got a little dance in the rain between the car and the RV as I was trying to get on here so we could do our live on time. So I thought I did pretty well. So, hang on, I got water running down the back of my head. It drives me nuts when that happens. But anyway, I'm getting water everywhere. Why should you keep learning? That is a really good question. I was actually I just jumped off a training session regarding essential oils. I love essential oils, and I'm starting to learn a lot of different things about essential oils because I'm really getting into using my essential oils way more than I had in the past. Before, I just had my favorite ones that I would use consistently and things like that. Now I'm getting into it in a different way and learning more about them and different uses and things. And one of them is this little bottle here called frankincense. It's good for the skin. That one I can tell you. It's got a lot of other good uses, but this is a little roll-on bottle, so it's been diluted with fractionated coconut oil. And one of my favorite things to do is just to do this. And why are you putting that by your eyes? 2 reasons, and then you just dab it around. 2 reasons. One, because it actually takes care of the crow's feet, which I really don't care about. I don't care if there's crow's feet there or not, but apparently it takes care of those. But the other reason is that it has been shown that it can actually improve your eyesight, which I think is really cool, just from this little bottle of frankincense. Who knew? But you do have to be aware of the quality of the oils that you are using. So, and there's a whole science behind it and everything else. So it's kind of cool. Some of the things. Look, there is a batch number on the bottom of this. We're talking about batch numbers on the bottoms of the bottles, and how you can actually go and look up the batch bottles. It tells you exactly what's in there from the testing and from the third-party testing that's been done. Really, really cool stuff. But anyway, so and it's something I thought, thinking, I do a lot of learning, and why? Well, one, because I want to become an expert in different areas. So to become an expert in, say, like travel, I'm constantly doing training classes with the different cruise lines, especially since I deal a lot with groups on cruises. So I do their training classes that they have on the cruise lines overall. And when new ships come out, I go and I learn about the new ships. I haven't done this for the last couple of years. So right now it is resetting and realigning with the cruise lines as to what it is that they're capable of doing with groups and that sort of thing, what activities they have on board their ships, their new ships that have come out or about to come out, and starting to get back into there. In fact, I'm starting to contact the business development managers for different cruise lines to say, hey, let's have a conversation about groups on board the ships and things like that. So that's one way, is you increasing your knowledge of something that you're an expert. If you're an expert in an area, genealogy, I'm always taking continuing education for this. In fact, last night I actually, let's see if I can find it real quick. I actually had to put in there all of my training that I did in 2022, because in order to maintain your membership with the Association of Professional Genealogists, we have to log at minimum 12 continual training credits a year at minimum. Last year I clocked in at 200 that's 209 plus 16 is 225 hours is what I did last year. 225 hours. And they have a whole bunch of stuff there that you can like put the hours in for. So every year I have to keep a log of my continuing education for that current year. So when it comes to I can make sure I can report it before my renewal comes up for my membership, because if I don't report it before my renewal comes up for my membership, they won't renew my membership because they can't say I had the continuing education credits. And then they actually have places down below where you've got to put at least 3 of the things that you attended and what you got out of them. And I'm like, that's really cool, because I'm making sure that you're going to these. That's their way of verifying that you went to these things, which I thought was really cool. So again, it's maintaining my my membership at the Association of Professional Genealogists, and also increasing my knowledge, and I'm getting to learn new things. But there is there's a lot of side benefits to keeping continuing education going, even if it's nothing to do with your job. It's just a hobby that you want to learn more about. But you can do things like it enhances your career opportunities. There are careers out there where you have to do continuing education units every single year. Again, like with a professional genealogist, to maintain but in some cases it's to maintain your licensing fee, your licenses that you have. My real estate agent is going through her continuing education units right now in order to maintain her license. And she has to do a certain number of hours or a certain course per year that every year that she has to do in order to maintain her license. And there are a lot of ones, like accountants have to do this as well. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones where they have to go through these continuing education units in order to maintain their thing. Princess Cruise Lines, perfect example of this. They have you go they don't have you go through. You, as a travel professional, it is up to you to do the training classes that different cruise lines offer. With Princess, they have a really cool system where you go through and it's very intense. There's a lot of information in there, but it is worth doing. And when you work your way up through like ship officers, from first officer to, I can't remember the other levels, but I know the top one is Commodore. And when you reach the Commodore status, it is very useful as you get a lot of perks for when you go on cruises, which is kind of cool. There's different perks available at different levels that you can accomplish when you go on cruises. I do it for the knowledge, but the perks are really cool. But to maintain that Commodore status, there are refresher courses you have to do every single year. And you have to book X number of cabins every single year to maintain that Commodore status, which I think is brilliant on their part to be able to do that. And because Cunard's the same as with Princess as well, you have the same thing for Cunard as well. I know I'm stuck on Captain at the moment for Cunard. I have been there for years, simply because I've never had anybody book a Cunard sailing before, so I can't. And I know that I need that to get my Commodore status in that one. So it's but it's enhancing your career opportunities. It can open doors to new career opportunities, promotions, salary increases, as well as bringing new business, because now you have another certification that you can stick in there. If you're on LinkedIn and people go through and they look, what is it that you do? What training have you had? And you put in there all of the classes that you do. That helps them go, oh, they must be an expert in this area. They're doing all of these continuing education credits. So taking time to record that in your in LinkedIn in your profile helps, because they see that you are continually training for whatever it is. Whether it's I have several different businesses, so they can see that I'm continually doing training in different areas based on which business based on each business. Personal development, ongoing education allows professionals to stay abreast of their latest advancements, trends, and best practices in their respective fields. It can help you maintain and enhance your expertise, ensuring you provide high quality service. There you go. Personal growth. Education is a lifelong journey. It definitely is. I remember telling there was one year, I think it was in my first or second year of high school, where I went and stayed with a friend of our family. They had 4 children. They had 3 boys and a little girl. And so for 2 weeks, I got to go and stay at their place. And basically, I was the mother's assistant. I was her maid in a way. But she was still doing a lot of stuff around the house, but she had me doing other things as well. Like I took over some of the cleaning skills for her. I did babysitting for them during that 2 weeks when they wanted to go out in the evenings and things. And I was constantly learning. And she was teaching me a lot while I was there. And I said to her one day, I remember this clearly. I said to her one day, I said, I'm on school holiday. I'm on my school vacation. I shouldn't have to keep learning. And she turns around to me, and this is what she said. She says, you never stop learning, whether you're at school or you're not at school. You learn something new every single day. Life is a journey, and you have to learn as you go along, as you get prepared for the next step that's coming in your life. You are constantly learning, so never say that you're on vacation, you shouldn't have to learn. You are still going to learn while you're on vacation. And then she gave great examples, like, when your parents take you on a vacation and stuff, and you go to a new area, are you not learning about that new area? And I don't know, oh yeah. So that was a big wake-up call for me, that whatever you are doing in life, you are constantly learning. And so for personal growth, education is a lifelong journey that fosters personal growth and intellectual stimulation. It broadens perspectives, challenges assumptions, and encourages critical thinking, leading to personal development and a deeper understanding of the world and of yourself. Because the more you learn about yourself, the more that you can, if there's a habit that you don't like doing, you teach yourself to not do that habit. You teach yourself to replace it with something else that is more in favor with what it is you want to do. Networking opportunities. Whenever you're at a networking event, you are meeting other people from other professions, and you are learning about them. They may have speakers at these networking events, so you're learning from the speakers about what it is that they do, or they could be giving a speech on a different topic that doesn't have to do with their thing, with their business. It could be something to do with life lessons. It could be something to do with personal development, things like that. When you're at a networking, you've got a lot of opportunities there to not only connect and collaborate, but you can not only to connect, but to collaborate with your peers, your experts, industry leaders, depending on what type of event it is. But you could end up walking out of there with having some partnerships having been formed. You may be able to find some new mentors, or you could end up mentoring somebody else. But you've got access to new ideas and resources when you go to a networking opportunities. Adapting to change. People don't see adapting to change as learning. There are three things certain in life: taxes, change, and death. Those are the 3 things that you can absolutely guarantee are going to happen in your lifetime. And there's nothing you can do about any of them. So change is going to happen. Deal with it. It is a case of, how are you going to deal with it? What can you learn to help you cope with the changes that are coming on, and to help you to adapt to the change that is coming on? So by taking a personal journey that teaches you skills to adapt to change, learn about the new technology that's coming out. People keep, right now, everybody's talking about AI, artificial intelligence and stuff. I'm sort of like, okay, I'm a little scared of this stuff, but let's give it a go. What's something simple I can start with? So somebody gave me something simple to start with, and I went in there and went, oh, that's really cool. The more you understand about the change that's coming, the better prepared you are for it, and that fear goes away and can create fields of curiosity, which means you want to go learn more. Learning also helps fill in knowledge gaps that you have. Continuing education will allow you to find gaps within your knowledge or your skill set, and help improve those areas as well. It's like when you're doing the professional development or enhancing your career opportunities. By getting that new knowledge about a new ship coming out, or a new piece of equipment coming out, a new piece of technology coming out, you're filling in gaps that are in your skill set and your knowledge base, especially if it is in your area of expertise. Let's see, what else have we got on this list? I've written down some a couple of times. Keeping up with industry standards. If there is an industry that you work in, when you are doing that, like I'm in the travel industry, I'm in the genealogy industry, I'm constantly doing classes in both to keep me up with what's coming in. And in the case of travel, I'm having to catch up again because I was in hiatus for 3 years, from 2020 to the beginning of this year. I was on hiatus. My whole travel business was on hiatus. So now I'm having to play catch up, and now having to get back caught up with the industry standards. What's changed since COVID, because COVID had a big change that went through the travel industry. What are some of the precautions that they're now putting in place? Do you still require to wear masks on board? Do you have to be vaccinated to go on board a cruise ship? Do you have to be vaccinated to go on a plane? Do you have to wear a mask when you're on a plane? You're flying to this country? Are you required to be vaccinated and masked to go to this country? There's a whole bunch of stuff that's now come out, along with, tour companies are offering different types of tours. There's different cruise lines are still bringing out new ships. What's new on these ships? They may have gone from a small ship to building a massive ship, or a massive ship to building small ships, and all of this sort of stuff. So there's always ways that you can learn about things. When you're learning, you're improving your critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. It can equip you with the tools and the frameworks needed to analyze situations, evaluate opportunities, and make informed decisions. When you're having to, if you're making a major decision, like I'm going through the process of, been through the process of renting Dubai, which didn't work out at the time because of the pricing points of the houses. Looked at buying a house, but then I learned that when lenders are looking at your tax returns, if you are a W-2, they look at your gross income. If you are in business for yourself, they look at your net income, which is after all the expenses are taken out. So that was something else I learned. But not only that, it's also the area that you're looking at moving into. If you're looking at buying a house, do you not research the area that you are looking into? Is that research not learning about that area? If you've got kids, what are the schools like? What are the best schools? We're moving into this town or this city or this county. What are the best schools in the area that we can look at moving into? And then how far is that from where it is I have to go into the office? Or it could be that, so you're researching the area. If we buy a house here, where is the nearest shopping area? Where is, the major shopping area with supermarkets and the specialty stores, the hardware stores and all of that? Where is it in relation to where I have to go to work? What is the easiest way for me to get from this house to work? Is there public transportation I can take? Do I have to drive a car? How long is it going to take me to drive there? Is there parking at this? When you're looking at, and the reason you're looking at moving is because you're looking at taking a new job. Do you not research what that new job is going to be offering you? And you have to research it and compare things. So is that not using problem-solving abilities, critical thinking? It's researching, it's learning about what it is that's going to take you to move to that place. Is this the right sort of job for me? If I have to drive my car in, where do I park? Is my parking included with this job? There's a lot of things, and some of them are just small details, but you're having to learn about them in order to make an informed decision. We've talked about keeping pace with technology, enhancing communication and interpersonal skills. The more you learn about other people and how they think, there's all these different types of personalities out there. There's DISC, there's MBTI, there's BANK, there's what are some of the other ones I've done over the years? 360, there's Strengths Finders, there's all these different personality types. And if you are skilled in one of them, you can easily learn how to pick up traits in other people in that realm that you know. So the more you know of that particular personality type, the easier it is for you to be able to communicate with others who have different personality types to you. But because you've done the in-depth training, you're able to figure out how to talk to that person, how to deal with them in a situation where there's a conflict, not deal with them, but how to handle a conflict situation, how to build a meaningful relationship with them in the work sense, and how to inspire them to be more creative or to come up with some ideas and things like that. It's all about that relationship thing. So by learning communication, leadership skills, interpersonal skills, and doing these personality tests and things, and some companies will turn around and say, okay, everybody's going to be doing this personality test today, and then we're going to be we've got those guys coming in. They're going to, you've got to take these tests. These guys are going to come in. They're going to be doing, like this happened to me when I was working for Data General years ago. They did this one. It was based on birds. There was peacock, owl, dove, and eagle. And they took us in small batches into the conference room. We sat in a U-shaped table. It was a couple of hours out of our workday. And we're sitting there, and they gave us this form that we had to go down and fill out. And so I filled out the form, and you fill out the form honestly. So I filled out the form honestly. And they said, okay, whatever one you have, if you have A as the highest number, you're this. If you have this one, and I just put up my hand and I said, he goes, yes. I said, what happens when all four are equal? He goes, what do you mean? I said, I have the same score across the bottom for every single one of them. What do I do? And so he comes over and he has a look at it, and he randomly picks out somebody in the group there and hands them my form and goes, do you know this person well? And they go, yeah. They said, can you please have a look at this and see if there's anything misaligned with this? So he was asking other people that I work with what my personality type was. They went down all the questions. They go, yep, she's answered them right. And he's like, really? And they go, yeah. And so he passes it to somebody else, and they go, yep, that's her. And he had never had anybody come across where it was equal scoring across the four different birds. And so then he asked everybody else what bird they were, and we didn't have enough doves, so I became a dove for that day. Then later on, we're sitting there, and he's asking different questions, and I can see people asking questions based on the type of bird that they were. And so when he asked this one question, he goes, what's the brain? And I just called out, grey mushy stuff. And he looks at me and he goes, okay, it's grey mushy stuff. And the girl next to me, who was very much a peacock, which is very flamboyant and creative and that sort of thing, she turns to me and goes, that is a very peacocky answer. It is not how a dove should answer. And I says, well, I got peacock in me, so we're good. But it's learning those by having groups of people within a workplace do the same sort of personality test so that everybody can do this. It makes it so much easier to communicate with people. Another example, when I was working for Marriott, I was in the training department, and I had to do all sorts of tests in that one. But the one that I remember the most was the Strengths Finders one. We had to go in and we had to sit there in front of this computer and answer these questions. And so I just went through and answered them all that, and it gives you your 34 different strengths, and they order them from 1 down to 34. And focus is number 32 for me, just so you know. But what happened with that is that our leader then had our admin person go through everybody's tests, put them into a spreadsheet. Then you were sent a spreadsheet. Your results were in column 1. Everybody else's results were off to the side, and column 1 and row 1 were frozen, so that you could scroll across. And what we found out our boss did was that she would sit there and she was going to be talking to me. So, for example. So she would then open her spreadsheet. She would then scroll it across till she had her strengths lined up with my strengths. So now she knew exactly how to talk to me, and it was huge. My supervisor and I, we kind of butted heads a little bit until we stood there with flip charts, and we wrote out our 34 strengths. And then she says, okay, when I talk to you, I am relying on this strength, this one, and this one. And they may not even appear in my top 5. And I said, well, when you give me something, I'm looking at this, this, and this. And she says, okay, how can I best get you to do things and get them done in a timely fashion? I said, well, if you give me a deadline, I can do it. I said, if I have a deadline, I'm good. If I don't have a deadline and somebody else comes along and gives me something to do that does have a deadline, that gets done first. The one without the deadline gets pushed. And so she's like, oh, okay. And so we went through some of the issues that we were having together. And by working out how we communicated with this, it made such a huge difference. So learning to enhancing communication and interpersonal skills, massive. It's massive. It's huge. I can also help, constantly learning can also help with long-term cognitive health. They say research suggests that lifelong learning can contribute to better cognitive health and reduce the risk of cognitive decline associated with aging. Continuing education keeps the brain active, engaged, promoting mental agility and overall well-being. I love to do puzzles. I'm just sitting here, I've got my logic puzzles next to me, but I'm constantly learning. Even if there's times that I won't put the TV on to watch a movie or anything like that. I don't have regular TV. I just have Amazon Prime, and so I'm looking at the streams on that. And if there's nothing that really interests me, then I just don't feel like it, What am I doing? I'm actually sitting in my recliner with my laptop on my lap and I'm learning something. And it could be something as simple as just working on a puzzle. And it could be working on a puzzle and the effect that I have, it could be a word puzzle. And I'm sort of like, oh, I'm not sure what's that word? What does that word mean? It's starting to fill into some word, and I'm like, I have no clue what that word is. And so then I have to go look up that word, and I find out what that word, and I'm like, oh, and I learn a new word for the day. So whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to find ways to constantly learn because it is good for mental health. So that's it from me for today. Let us know in the comments below what are some things that you do to help you with, to incorporate continuing education into your day. So it could be for your career, it could be for your hobby, it could be just general knowledge, it could be all sorts of things. Another thing I like to do is I have an Alexa thingy bobby over there, and they do a question of the day. And as long as and so I don't join up the trivia club thing because I know I wouldn't use it. So I just sit down every morning and I just go, what's the question for the day? And she tells me the question of the day. You get the 4 answers and I pick out which one makes the most sense to me. And I say, I'm absolutely 100% sure. Some of them I have no clue. So I just use logic, which is interesting because logic is not in my top 10. Interesting. Anyway, and I get asked the question of the day. And if I get it right, I get a bonus question. And so I just do that, and they keep track for how many days in a row do you keep asking questions, or how many do you get right when you're asking the questions. So that's it from me for today. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. I'm going to go dodge some raindrops with Zeffie. She hates getting wet. Do you want to hear a funny story? She hates getting wet. Somebody had a cartoon on the thing with a guy standing there with 2 dogs, a lead in each hand and an umbrella in each hand. He's standing there getting wet and the dogs are completely dry. I have gone walking with Zeffie with umbrellas. I have the umbrella over her. So I'll be holding the umbrella in this hand with her leash so that it's over her more than it is me because I've got my rain poncho on. She's walking on the other side of the umbrella out of its cover. She won't walk next to me. She's walking as far away from me as she can get so that she's outside the cover of the umbrella. And I'm like, you don't like getting wet. I'm providing you with a personal awning. Go figure. Anyway, I'm out. So I've learned that she doesn't like walking under umbrellas, but she hates getting wet. But obviously she hates walking under umbrellas more than she hates getting wet. So anyway, go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here at 6 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night. Hey, korera.